I stood. The room didn't flinch. Forks scraped ceramic. The ham steamed at the center of the table. Glasses clinked. Fake smiles hovered in the air. I walked toward the counter, picked up a clean plate. It was white. Heavy. I'd bought it myself years ago when Davis first moved in. Amanda stepped between me and the food. No. I blinked. She didn't lower her voice. Didn't smile. You didn't pay for this dinner, Marlene. You don't eat tonight. Just like that. Right in front of her parents, Davis, the kids, her sister. No one looked up. No one laughed. Just chewing, swallowing, ignoring. I stood with the plate still in my hands. My eyes burned. Not from tears, those had dried out long ago. From heat. From shame. Davis didn't look at me. His head was down, cutting his meat too carefully. I said nothing. Amanda brushed past, took the last spoonful of sweet potatoes, and passed it to her father. Then she leaned in again, soft like a warning. Let's not ruin the mood. I placed the plate back on the counter. My fingers gripped the edge for a moment too long. Then I walked. 12 steps from the table to the hallway. 3 more to the back bedroom. The door clicked shut. I didn't cry. Instead, I changed into my old sweater, the one with my husband's initials sewn into the cuff. He used to wear it on cold nights like this. I sat at the edge of the bed and listened. Laughter floated in. A cork popped. Christmas music swelled on the stereo, the same playlist I'd made years ago. They hadn't even changed the name Holiday Warmth by Mom. I stood again. My body moved like it remembered how to be useful. Down the hall. Into the kitchen. I opened the fridge, pulled out the leftover bread ends Amanda always shoved to the back. I sliced, one toasted. It added nothing. Just warmth and texture. I chewed in silence. The table behind me roared with a joke I wasn't part of. Amanda's voice rose above them all. Something about how traditions change. I rinsed my knife. Dried it. Set it back into the drawer facing outward. Like I always did. They didn't see me. Not really, but I saw them. The way Amanda smiled like a politician. The way Davis tried to disappear into his seat. The way her sister snapped pictures, probably for her curated little holiday album. I took one last look at the counter. The dishes were piled high. The napkins were balled up. My hands twitched out of habit, but I didn't move. Not yet. Instead, I reached under the sink, pulled out the brown notebook I kept behind the cleaning supplies. I flipped to the first blank page. December 24th. Christmas Eve. No plate. No seat. No voice. I closed the book. Placed it back exactly where it belonged. Then I turned off the kitchen light, one switch at a time, until all that was left was the glow from the hallway, just enough to see the crumbs they left behind. And in the dark, I remembered something they didn't know I still had. I scrubbed each plate, the ones I wasn't allowed to eat from. Crumbs of ham, globs of cranberry, hardened marshmallow from Amanda's sweet potato casserole, scraped them off, rinsed, loaded. They stacked their dishes like I was the help. Amanda laughed in the other room. Davis muttered something low. Someone asked for more wine. No one said thank you. No one stepped in. Steam rose from the dishwasher. I wiped down the counters, took the leftover green beans Amanda barely touched, and packed them into the small glass containers, hers labeled in fading Sharpie lunch. A. I made her space in the fridge, shifted my yogurt behind her kale juice, hid my sandwich bags, cleared the sink, set the sponge back in its exact corner. The kitchen clock ticked past midnight. I rinsed my hands, dried them slowly, walked to the back room. Cold air met me first. My room didn't have heating, not since Davis repurposed the vent to keep the baby's nursery warmer. The baby didn't even sleep there anymore. I pulled the quilt tighter around my shoulders. Slipped under the extra blanket I kept folded at the foot of the bed. I didn't bother changing, just laid there, eyes open, not sad, not shocked, just still. This wasn't new, just louder. I turned on the lamp and reached for the leather notepad in my drawer. Flipped past old grocery lists, passwords, numbers I no longer called. Found a blank page. December 24th. Not fed. Not welcome. No one noticed. I closed it, slid it back. The house was quiet now. All the pretending had gone to sleep. I rose again. Opened the closet. On the top shelf behind the plastic tubs, I reached for the flat, heavy envelope I hadn't touched in months. Still sealed. Still mine. I didn't open it. Just held it in both hands for a moment. Then put it back deeper this time. Tucked beneath the winter scarf Davis gave me 10 years ago, back when his gifts still had tags and tape. I turned off the light, rolled to my side, pulled the quilt up over my ears, let the cold do its job. Sleep didn't come, but something else did. Resolve. Thin, steady, cold as the room. In the morning, I rose early. The dishwasher had finished. I unloaded everything, sorted the forks, lined up the mugs. Amanda came in halfway through, phone in hand, yawning. "Oh," she said, "you're up. Could you start the laundry too? We're behind again." I nodded. She didn't wait for an answer, just walked away, voice trailing into a voicemail greeting. I folded the dish towel with clean, practiced hands, dusted crumbs from the kitchen table, wiped a sticky ring off the side of Amanda's favorite mug. It said, "Grateful." White script on blush pink. A gift from her sister. She never washed it herself. I dried it, set it on the rack, then walked to the laundry room. The baby's clothes sat in the bin. Mine weren't welcome in the wash cycle. I carried my own laundry back to the bedroom, washed it later by hand. They went out around noon. Amanda in her fur-lined coat, Davis trailing behind, holding the baby carrier like it weighed the world. "Leftovers in the fridge," Amanda called. "Don't eat the duck." They didn't wait for a response. The door shut behind them. I stood alone in the kitchen, hand resting on the fridge handle, staring at the label that said in her handwriting, "Not for Marlene." So I brewed coffee. Black. No sugar. No milk. And I sat at the counter with my own mug, the one no one ever touched. I paused by the hallway. Voices spilled from the living room. Amanda's tone, sharp, lazy with contempt. She still thinks this is her home. It's pathetic. Silence. Then Davis, low tired. "I can change the locks. Should have done it months ago." The couch creaked. Someone took a sip. I stepped back. Walked quietly down the hall, into the guest bathroom. Closed the door. Flushed though I didn't need to. Waited. Washed my hands slowly like I'd heard nothing. That night, after they went to bed, I opened the junk drawer in the kitchen. The key ring used to hang on a red hook in the back corner. Only two left now. The garage, the shed, the house spare gone. I stood there for a full minute. Didn't breathe. Didn't panic. The fridge hummed. The ice maker clicked. I closed the drawer. Dried my hands again, though they weren't wet. Poured a glass of water. Left it on the counter untouched. Morning came cold and gray. Amanda stood at the counter scrolling. "Did you move the house key?" I asked. She looked up. Blinked once. "What key?" "The spare in the drawer." "Oh." A smirk. Must have misplaced it when we reorganized. We hadn't reorganized anything. She walked away before I could say more. Left her coffee mug half full on the table. I washed it. Set it on the rack. After lunch, when the house was quiet again, I slipped into the garage. Opened the old toolbox. The heavy one with the rusted corners and two broken latches. Lifted the top tray. There it was. A single brass key on a faded blue tag, taped to the bottom panel exactly where my husband had left it. Just in case. I peeled it off gently, ran my thumb along the grooves. Still smooth. Still mine. I pocketed it. Back inside, Amanda was laughing on a video call. "She acts like she still owns the place," she said loud enough to echo. Pause. She'll leave eventually. She just needs a little push. I didn't look at her. I walked past. Into my room, closed the door. Took out my notebook. December 27th. Spare key gone, taken. Backup recovered. She doesn't know I still have it. I tucked the key into the small pouch in my nightstand, wrapped in the cloth I used to clean my glasses. That night, Davis asked if I'd watered the plants. They look dry, he said. I nodded. The plants weren't dry. I'd watered them the day before, but it didn't matter. Nothing I did mattered, except when it didn't serve them. Amanda passed me her coat, didn't say a word, just held it out like I was a rack. I hung it up. They left for dinner at a friend's house. Didn't invite me. I watched from the window as they backed out of the driveway. Amanda on her phone. Davis with one hand on the wheel, the other on his lap. When the car was gone, I turned off the porch light. I boiled water. Opened a fresh packet of decaf. Let it steep longer than I usually did. Sat at the kitchen table with both hands around the mug. The door was locked, but not for me. She pulled the first nail out fast. The frame clattered against the baseboard. I heard it from the kitchen and didn't move. Just dried my hands, counted each sound. 1, 2, 3. Glass tapping wood, nails dropping into a plastic tray. I walked out slowly. Stood at the edge of the hallway. Amanda didn't look at me. She was already wrapping a canvas in brown paper. The walls are too crowded, she said. We want a modern look. Davis stood behind her holding a roll of painter's tape like it meant something. No one asked, no warning, just gone. The photos were mine, our family. Davis in Little League, my husband in uniform, my mother with her garden apron, one faded Christmas photo from 1989 with the garland half falling and our old beagle under the table. I stepped forward, reached for the one of my wedding day. Black and white. We'd eloped. Got caught in a summer storm. Laughing soaked wind in my veil. Amanda grabbed it first. I'll pack it carefully, she said, not looking up. Can I keep that one? I asked. My voice didn't rise. She blinked, shrugged. Sure. Take it to your room. This isn't a museum. She handed it over like it was a library book past due. I held it tight. Glass cool in my hands. Dust at the corners. A small crack at the bottom no one ever fixed. I turned away before she could see my face. Back in my room, I set the photo on the dresser. No wall space left. The heater still broken, the corners still damp from rain. But it was mine. Dinner was quiet that night. No eye contact. Amanda filled her plate first. Davis followed. I ate the toast I made. No one noticed. After they went to bed, I walked the hallway. Bare walls, empty nails, patches of faded paint. Only one frame left Amanda's graduation photo. Hung by the stairs, perfectly centered. I didn't touch it. Instead, I pulled out the notebook. December 30th. Photos removed. Only hers remains. History erased. Only mine remembered. I didn't sleep much. My husband used to say when someone starts erasing pictures, they're not redecorating. They're rewriting. The next morning, Amanda was in the garage going through the donation bin. Let me know if you want to keep anything, she called out. I stayed inside. Later, I checked the bin. My holiday wreath. The carved wooden sign that said, Welcome Friends. Davis had made it in high school woodshop. They'd thrown it out with the cracked lamp and the broken umbrella. I pulled it out, brushed off the dust. Took it back to my room. It didn't match anything in there. That wasn't the point. Davis came in late that evening. Work call in one hand, tired eyes. Hey, Mom. Amanda says we're repainting the hallway tomorrow. Don't worry, we'll be careful with the floors. I nodded, said nothing. He looked around the kitchen like he'd forgotten why he came in. You, need anything? I shook my head. He left. The silence didn't feel like safety. It felt like slow demolition. But I still had the frame, still had the key, still had the envelope. And I still had the one thing Amanda didn't know existed. She slapped the folder on the table, thin, empty, meant to intimidate. I need to see the trust documents, Amanda said. We're adjusting some things with the accountant. I stirred my coffee, waited. She folded her arms. The safe in the hall closet. I need the key. I shook my head. I lost it years ago. She didn't even try to hide her eye roll, just muttered convenient. Davis looked up from his phone, blinked, then went back to scrolling. He hadn't said a full sentence to me in 2 days. Amanda grabbed her purse. We'll call a locksmith if we have to. I wiped the counter clean, hung the dish towel to dry. They left for the afternoon. I waited, counted 2 hours, then 3. I walked to the hall closet, bent down, pulled back the false panel I'd added after Davis moved Amanda in, slipped my hand behind the insulation. Cold metal met my fingers. The real key, still there. I unlocked the safe. The hinges groaned from disuse. Inside, nothing had moved. The deed sat on top. Still in my name. No cosign, no amendments. The signature in blue ink the day after my husband passed. His last request. Don't give it away. Not unless they've earned it. Below it, a brown binder. Notarized. My will. A secondary trust. All updated. All sealed. I flipped to the first page. Primary residence full control retained by Marlene Royce. Transfer clause void if coerced, manipulated, or misled. Beneficiaries subject to change. I turned the page. Tucked behind the binder. The original trust Amanda thought she had. Untouched, unchanged, never activated. She had nothing, no access, no right. But she didn't know that. I closed the binder, set it back inside, careful, locked the safe, replaced the panel, wiped the doorknob with my sleeve. Back in the kitchen, I brewed new coffee, poured it into my chipped white mug. The one Amanda always said looked too old. I took it to the back room, shut the door, opened my notebook. January 3rd. Amanda demanded the key. Let her think it's lost. Deed untouched. They don't know. They still think I'm a guest. That night at dinner, Amanda tossed her napkin down hard. I called the accountant. We need access this week. I shrugged. The safe's old. Jammed, probably. She narrowed her eyes. It's not jammed. It's just locked. I sipped my water. Davis said nothing. Amanda tried a different tone. Light. Almost sweet. If we get you on the new insurance, we can add some home care support. It's really about safety. I looked at her. Really looked. She wasn't worried about my safety. She wanted signatures. Control. I gave her a small nod. Maybe next week? She smiled. But it didn't reach her eyes. Later I saw her whispering to Davis in the hallway, her hand on his arm, his head down. I closed my door, took out the spare key again, ran my thumb along the edges. Still smooth, still mine, still working. And I remembered something else I'd kept hidden behind a name she didn't know. He pulled out a chair, gestured for me to sit. No plates, no napkins. Just a pen in his hand and a paper on the table. Amanda stood behind him, smiling too much. Davis cleared his throat. We wanted to talk to you about something important. I waited. Didn't sit. He gestured again. Please, Mom. I sat. Amanda placed the paper in front of me. No title, just lines. Blanks. And at the bottom, a signature space. This is for the refinance, she said, her voice like syrup. We can't get the new rate unless the house is in our names. I didn't touch the paper. Davis spoke next, softer. It's just temporary. Just a formality. He didn't look at me. Looked at the wall behind me. Or maybe the floor. Amanda slid the pen closer. You're still living here, obviously, she said. Nothing changes. She smiled like I should be grateful. Like they were doing me a kindness. I looked at the form. A generic quitclaim deed. Blank, but ready. All it needed was my name. And hers. I met her eyes. She didn't blink. I turned to Davis. This your idea? He hesitated. We talked about it. Did you? His fingers tapped the table once, then stopped. He didn't answer. Amanda leaned in. We're a family, Marlene. This is just paperwork. I stood. You'll think about it, she asked, voice still light. I nodded once. Not yes. Just acknowledgement. I left the table. The pen. The silence. In my room, I locked the door, sat on the edge of the bed, closed my hands tight around the mug still warm from coffee I hadn't finished. Then I opened my drawer, pulled out the notebook. January 5th. They want the deed. Call it refinancing. Call it temporary. Call it what it is, a transfer. That night, Davis knocked on my door. Mom, I didn't answer. He waited, then walked away. I opened the safe again, checked the documents. Still there, still untouched. I added one more, a note, dated, signed, do not authorize transfer under pressure, no consent given. I placed it at the top of the binder. The next morning, Amanda placed a sticky note on my coffee mug. Let us know when you're ready to sign. The rate deadline's Friday. Smiley face at the end, like a joke. I poured out the coffee, brewed a new one. Stronger this time. Then I picked up the phone and called the number I hadn't dialed in years. I dialed fast. The number was still burned into my muscle memory. 3 rings. Then, this is Greg. Gregory Myers. It's Marlene. A pause. A sharp intake of breath. Well, I'll be damned. How long's it been? 4 years, I said. Maybe 5. I still have your file, he said, chuckling. I don't throw out gold. I didn't smile. They're asking for the house, I said. Told me to sign something. Said they were on the trust. Silence on the other end. Then a soft, knowing laugh. No, Marlene. Not unless you added them, which you haven't. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. He continued. The trust is solid. Your name's the only one that matters. Still want it that way? Yes. You want to make any updates while I've got the file open? Yes, I said again. The will. I want to make a few things clearer. We met 2 days later. Neutral Cafe. Downtown. Quiet. Familiar. He brought the documents. I brought the changes. I added one sentence. In the event of coercion, emotional pressure, or manipulation, all beneficiaries named in this document may be removed at the trustee's sole discretion. He didn't blink, just nodded. Still sharp, Marlene. I signed. He signed. His assistant signed. 3 names, 3 pens, no noise. He slid a copy into a manila envelope. Want me to fax it to the house? No, I said. I want them to think nothing's changed. He grinned. Silence as strategy. You always did like the long game. I tucked the envelope into my bag, walked home, took the long way. Davis was on the porch when I got back. Hey, he said. Amanda said you went out. Everything okay? I nodded. Just errands. He looked relieved, or maybe nervous. I couldn't tell anymore. Inside, Amanda was on her laptop. She didn't even glance up. Refinance deadline's tomorrow, she said. Clocks ticking. I went to my room, pulled out the old yellow file box from beneath the bed, placed the new envelope inside, locked the latch. Then I went to the kitchen, brewed coffee, poured it slow, let the scent fill the room. Amanda walked in, opened the fridge, slammed it shut. No almond milk, she muttered. Did you finish it? I stirred my coffee, said nothing. She watched me for a second, then walked out. Later that night, I heard them whispering again. Davis. She's just old. She'll cave. Amanda. She's holding us back. I sipped the last of my coffee, opened the notebook again. January 7th. Not on the trust, not on the will. They don't know. Let them keep talking. The text buzzed at 9:12 a.m. Amanda, get oat milk duck and saffron for New Year's. Thanks. No please. No can you. No offer to reimburse, just instructions. I stared at the screen, then stood, grabbed my coat, and took the bus. The store was packed. Everyone rushing, carts scraping, kids crying. I moved slow, deliberate. Picked the expensive oat milk she liked, the imported saffron sealed tight in glass, the frozen duck organic twice the price, 2 bottles of sparkling water, a block of fancy cheese she'd circle in magazines but never buy. I didn't add anything for myself. The cashier read off the total, $184.32. I handed over my card. Didn't blink. The receipt went into my coat pocket. The bag handles cut into my fingers. No one offered to help on the way home. Amanda was on the phone when I got back. She waved me off, pointed to the counter. I unloaded each item, stacked them neatly, left the receipt folded beside the saffron. She didn't touch it. Later, I checked the trash. The receipt was gone. The envelope empty. At 7:34 p.m., I pulled out the binder. Not the trust. The other one. The one I kept for the things no one else saw. I stapled the receipt to a fresh page. Wrote beneath it January 8th. Oat milk duck saffron. Paid. Not reimbursed. Dinner was loud that night. Friends came over. Amanda laughed too loud. Davis poured wine he didn't buy. I stayed quiet, stayed useful. Washed dishes, folded napkins, set out cheese boards like a caterer. Amanda called from the living room, glass in hand. Did you chill the sparkling? I nodded. Took out the bottles, wiped the condensation, poured. They toasted to the new year 3 days early. Someone asked about the house. Amanda smiled. Working on it, she said. I dried my hands, went back to my room. She never asked what the groceries cost, never asked if I needed anything, never asked why I didn't eat that night. The next morning I checked the fridge. The duck was still thawing, the saffron untouched, but the oat milk was half gone. I brewed black coffee. No milk, no sugar, no softness. Then I folded the receipt stub into a small square, tucked it into my wallet behind the emergency cash, just in case. That afternoon, Amanda asked if I could stay in my room during the dinner party. Just for ambiance, she said. The vibe's more modern. I nodded, went back to my room, opened the notebook. January 9th, dinner party, requested absence, fridge full, room empty, still here, still watching. The iPad was on the kitchen island, charging. Amanda had stepped into the bathroom, phone still in hand, door half closed. I walked past it, paused. The screen lit up on its own. A ding, another message. Group chat home upgrade. The title meant nothing until I read the messages. Amanda. She still hasn't signed, but she's cracking. The safe story is cute. Chloe LOL. Just wait until the rate jumps. Pressure always works. Ryan. Throw a moving party once she's in a care home. 5 laugh reacts. 1 heart. Then Davis. My son. Davis. She'll sign anything if I ask nicely. Always has. I stood still. No sound. Just the soft electric hum of the dishwasher behind me. The sting in my chest wasn't shock. It was recognition. They meant it. Every word. No guilt. No second guessing. They were planning my exit like a furniture delivery. Amanda flushed. The door opened. She walked back in, humming. I had already stepped away. The iPad screen dimmed to black. Later that night, I waited until they left the kitchen. Then I returned. Opened the group chat again. Took photos of the messages. Every line, every emoji. I didn't forward, didn't send. I printed them out instead. At the library the next morning, black and white, clear. I clipped the pages behind the saffron receipt in my binder. Back home, Davis greeted me at the door. Hey, Mom, where'd you go, library? I said. He smiled. Reading something good? Yes. Amanda called from upstairs. Don't forget Davis' mom's not joining the dinner tonight. Right. He hesitated, looked at me, then nodded. Yeah, she's fine staying in. I walked to my room, locked the door, sat down slowly, the notebook opened easily. January 10th. Group chat opened. iPad unlocked. Messages captured. Intentions confirmed. Amanda wants me out. Davis will help her. They don't whisper anymore. Now they plan it out loud. I closed the notebook, pulled the drawer open. Binder, safe key, deed. Still there. Still mine. Let them talk. Let them schedule. Let them print party invitations. They hadn't read the fine print. They hadn't heard from the lawyer. Not yet. Glasses clinked. Laughter spilled down the hallway like cheap perfume. Music played low jazz spun through a Bluetooth speaker. Davis barely knew how to operate. I stood by the edge of the dining room, half in shadow. Amanda raised her flute. To a new year, she said, voice glowing, and a new house soon to be fully ours. The guests clapped. Someone whistled. Davis wrapped an arm around her waist. I turned, walked away. My feet didn't rush, but they didn't hesitate. Back in my room, I closed the door, locked it. I moved the dresser, kneeled, opened the safe. The smell hit first, old paper-worn leather memory. I touched the binder, not to check, but to feel the weight of it, to remind myself what was real and what was noise. Flipped it open. The trust was still there, untouched, unchanged. My name, only mine. No addendums, no secondary signatories, no shared ownership, just the original terms. My late husband's signature, my own, the way we built it, the way we agreed. They had nothing. Amanda's toast was a performance, a speech given to a crowd who didn't know the script had never been approved. I flipped to the new will. My additions sat clean and firm. The new clause. No transfer of assets is valid without my consent, verbal or written notarized. No wiggle room, no manipulation. And yet, there they were in the next room, laughing like they'd already won. I closed the binder, slid it back inside, locked the safe, straightened the furniture, smoothed the blanket on my bed. The mirror caught my reflection, stern, tired, but steady. I sat. Opened the notebook. December 31st. Amanda toasted to ownership. Davis said nothing. I touched the binder. Still mine. No claim, no contract, no rights. They toast shadows. I hold the house. A knock came at the door. I didn't answer. Davis's voice followed. Mom, you okay in there? Another knock. Come join us for cake. Amanda made tiramisu. Another pause. Then silence. They'd forget in 10 minutes. Move on to board games or more wine. I folded the notebook closed. I didn't need to confront them. Not yet. The documents didn't scream. They waited. Patient. Precise. Let Amanda sip her champagne. Let her call it hers. I would wait. Not forever. Just long enough. Long enough for her to set the stage. Long enough for them to invite the wrong witness. I packed the receipts. Folded the grocery stubs. Stacked the printed screenshots. Slipped in the unpaid copay from Davis's surgery. $874.20. I paid that too. I zipped it all into the leather folder. The one they hadn't noticed. The one I kept in my sewing basket. Called Greg again. Same cafe, same booth, different fire. He saw my face and didn't waste time. Binder updates, I handed him the folder. Every expense I said. Everything they never reimbursed. Everything they expected, demanded, or assumed. He flipped through. Frowned. Damn, he muttered. They really think you owe them. They think I'm holding them back. He nodded once. You want to amend the trust? Yes. Remove them both. Completely. Beneficiary. I pulled out a folded brochure. Simple, clean, no photos. Women's Shelter of Asheville. The same one I volunteered at before Davis was born. Add them, I said. Greg tapped his pen twice against the folder, then opened the binder. Dated the new pages. Initialed the margins. Your house, your legacy. Your name stays at the top. Always. We both signed. He leaned back. They're going to come for you once they find out. I know. He smiled. But they won't find out today. I nodded. Not yet. He gave me the revised documents in a new envelope. Unmarked. Crisp. Do you want me to send a copy to the shelter now? Not yet, I said again. Let them finish their games first. I walked home slow. The kind of slow you choose, not the kind forced by age. Amanda's car wasn't in the driveway. Davis sat on the porch, sipping a canned beer. Cheap kind. Lukewarm. Hey, Mom, he said. Amanda's out running errands. I nodded. He gestured to the envelope. More knitting stuff. Something like that. He didn't ask more. I passed him. Opened the door. Went to my room. Shut it softly. Binder out. New envelope in. Notebook open. January 3rd. Trust amended. Both removed. Legacy redirected. No blood ties. No guilt. No apologies. That night, Amanda handed me a flyer. Open house next weekend. We thought you might enjoy browsing, get inspired. I smiled. Not because of the flyer, because I already knew who'd be leaving the house. And it wouldn't be me. I reached for the top shelf. Moved the old espresso machine box. Slid the holiday mugs aside. The coffee tin sat tucked in the back, dusty but clean. It used to hold dark roast. Davis's favorite when he still called me Mom without flinching. Now it held something stronger. I opened the lid, folded the envelope once more, slipped it inside. The updated trust. My signature. Greg's initials. The shelter's name. Beside it, I placed a letter. 1 page. No flourish. In case they ask why. I wrote it that morning. Not out of spite. Not out of vengeance. Out of clarity. I listed every date, every receipt, every insult dressed as a joke. Every time they asked for something without thanks, I ended with one line. This house was never yours. You were only ever guests. I closed the tin, pushed it back into place, covered it with the old plastic lid. No one touched that shelf. Still, I started locking my door. Amanda noticed the next day. You're locking your room now? She asked, feigning confusion. I sleep better, I said. She smirked. Paranoid. Much. Davis looked up from his phone. Didn't speak. They didn't ask again. Later I heard them outside my door. She's getting weirder, Amanda whispered. She's always been private, Davis said. Just give her space. They walked off. I added that to the notebook. January 4th. Trust hidden. Letter beside it. Door locked. Amanda noticed. Davis deflected. Storm close. Silence holds. I began sleeping lighter. Kept my keys on a chain around my neck. Moved the original deed into my suitcase under the bed. Bolted the window. Shifted furniture against the frame. Not fear foresight. The way someone might brace a porch before a hurricane. That week, Amanda hosted a planning meeting. More wine. More casual cruelty. She doesn't even use the space, I heard her say. It's wasted. She has the guest room someone else added. If she stays at all. They didn't know I was standing just outside the door. I didn't flinch. I didn't cry. I returned to my room. Took one more step. I pulled the envelope from the coffee tin again. Added a sticky note. Open this when you think I'm gone. Then I put it back. Tightened the lid. Smiled for the first time in weeks. They could plan the furniture. I had already rearranged the future. Amanda waved a folder in front of me. Just a quick signature, she said, smiling like I was a guest in my own home. Davis and I found a great deal. But our credits, well, you know, it's just a cosign. Temporary. We'll take care of you later. She slid the folder across the kitchen table like it was nothing, like it wasn't a debt trap dressed in pastel ink. I looked at Davis. He didn't meet my eyes. He stood behind her, arms folded, nodding like a trained echo. I ran my fingers over the pen. Let it click open. Let it rest against the signature line. Of course, dear, I said. Amanda exhaled like she'd already won. Turned toward the fridge, digging for almond milk. I didn't sign. I didn't even open the folder. I stood, walked to my room, pen still in hand. Closed the door. Locked it. Binder out. Notebook open. January 7th. Cosign request. Declined. No signature. No promise. Smiled anyway. They didn't follow up. They assumed I'd gotten distracted. That age made me forget. That silence meant agreement. Amanda mentioned the car again 2 days later. Something about new leather seats, a backup camera. I asked if the dealership had offered better rates. She frowned. You didn't sign? I blinked. Did you leave it with me? You said yes. I said, of course, dear. I turned away before her mouth could open again. I didn't owe them anger. I didn't owe them clarity. They wanted my name on a document. I gave them politeness instead. It cut sharper. They didn't speak to me the rest of the evening. Later that night, I wrote another page in the notebook. Amanda expected yes. Davis said nothing. I gave them grace. They mistook it for surrender. I took the unsigned loan form she'd left it on the hall table and slid it under my mattress. Not to hide. To remember. They could forge my warmth, but not my pen. They could talk over my voice, but not over the documents they didn't hold. In the morning, Amanda asked if I wanted to come car shopping. I said I had laundry. She didn't ask again. I folded the laundry, checked the time, waited for a call that didn't come. By noon, I knew. Amanda forgot. Davis didn't remind her. My 69th birthday slid by like dust under their sofa. At 3:42 p.m., Davis knocked once. Hey, Mom, sorry. Can you grab Liam from daycare? We're running late with the loan paperwork. No happy birthday, no hug, no glance at the calendar. I nodded, picked up my coat, walked to the garage, drove the car they kept. Forgetting I paid off. Liam ran to me with his lunchbox, dragging behind him one shoe untied. Grandma, he shouted, beaming. That was the only gift I got that day. I brought him home, wiped his face, made him a snack. Amanda was setting the table when I walked in. 4 plates, 3 wine glasses, 1 kid's cup, no candle, no slice of cake. Just her voice calling out. Dinner in 5, I helped serve the pasta. Sat down last. Davis didn't look up from his phone. Amanda twirled noodles onto her fork. Next year, she said between bites, we'll get you a card if we remember. She laughed. Davis snorted. Liam looked confused. I smiled. Small, tight, flat. The kind of smile you wear like armor. I said nothing, not because I had no words, but because they weren't worth them. After dinner, I cleared the plates, washed them while Amanda opened her laptop on the couch. Davis turned on the game. Liam fell asleep against a pillow. I poured 1 cup of coffee, sat at the kitchen island, lit the candle Amanda had moved to the pantry. Let it burn. No cake. Just silence. I opened the notebook beside me, January 11th. Birthday 69. No card, no cake. Asked to pick up child. Joke at dinner. Laughed alone. I slipped the page into the binder, behind the trust, behind the receipts, behind the letter that already told the truth. They thought they were erasing me. All they did was write themselves out. At 10:03 p.m., Amanda walked past with a mug of tea. Oh, right, she said. Happy birthday or whatever. She didn't wait for a reply. I finished my coffee. Blew out the candle. They'd forget this day. I wouldn't. I brewed the coffee myself. No help. No questions. Amanda and Davis buzzed around the kitchen, setting out fruit and faking ease. Her parents arrived right on time. Perfume first, voices second. Plastic smiles last. Amanda kissed cheeks. Davis opened the juice. Small talk poured like syrup. We're so excited, Amanda said, reaching for her mimosa. We'll own the house soon. It's just a matter of time. Her trust is as good as ours. Laughter. Her mother nodded. About time, honestly. I walked in, coffee tray steady, mugs warm, one envelope on the tray clean white, uncreased. I set it down next to the fruit bowl. This is the new trust, I said, pouring coffee for each guest, careful not to spill. The room quieted. I took my seat. You're not in it. Amanda's smile cracked first. Davis blinked. Looked at me like I'd just spoken another language. Her father shifted in his chair. Her mother clutched her cup. What do you mean? Amanda asked. Her voice too light, too sharp. I mean what I said. Davis tried to laugh. Mom, this isn't funny. I slid the envelope closer to them. The house is mine. The trust is mine. It was never transferred, never amended in your favor. And as of last week, neither of you are beneficiaries. Not for the house, not for anything. Amanda didn't speak. Her parents didn't either. I sipped my coffee. Steady hands, clear eyes. Davis finally found his voice. Why would you do that? I looked at him, at the boy I raised, the man who let silence replace backbone. You said I'd sign anything if you asked nicely. That's in your little group chat, remember? He turned pale. Amanda reached for the envelope, but paused. You have no right, I have every right. I stood. I paid for this table. I built this home. I fed this family. While you belittled me, used me, erased me, the envelope sat untouched. The silence stretched. Amanda's mother shifted again. Maybe this is a misunderstanding. It's not, I said. I looked to Davis. I gave you everything once. You mistook it for entitlement. He didn't answer. I walked to the kitchen, poured one last mug, set it down across from my plate. I didn't say who it was for, but the message was clear. There was now one chair at the table Amanda wouldn't fill. The bank called Davis at 9:17 a.m. I heard it through the floorboards. The change in his tone, the panic in his pacing. What do you mean I'm no longer listed? Pause. No, that can't be right. It's a family trust, my mother's trust. Another pause. His voice dropped. You're saying I've been removed? I stirred my coffee. Sat at the kitchen table. Quiet. Steady. Amanda came downstairs moments later, phone in hand. My card just declined at the store. What's going on? She turned to Davis. Did you forget to pay the bill? He didn't answer. She opened her banking app, fingers swiping fast. Then she froze. Everything's locked. She looked up. What did you do? I took a sip. The coffee was still hot. They both turned to me. Mom, Davis started slower now. Did you change something? I didn't speak. Amanda crossed her arms. You had no right. I looked at her, then at him, then back at my coffee. The right came with the name on the documents, I said. Mine. Amanda scoffed. We were using that money for the house, for groceries. You were, I said, but I didn't agree. Davis sat down across from me, trying to mask the frustration in his voice. Mom, you're making this harder than it needs to be. I raised an eyebrow. Harder for whom? He looked away. Amanda paced. So now what? You're just going to let us drown? I didn't answer, because they weren't drowning. They were learning what dry ground felt like after walking on water I had poured for years. What are we supposed to do? Davis asked, quieter this time. Amanda hissed. You said she wouldn't notice. That she didn't care about the money? I noticed, I said. Amanda's jaw clenched. So what now? You just sit there while we fall apart? No, I said calmly. I sit here while you grow up. Neither of them spoke. The silence was sharper than any scream they could have thrown. I stood, took my mug, walked it to the sink. They followed me with their eyes but didn't move. Behind me, I heard Davis's voice again, barely a whisper. Mom, but I had nothing left to explain. Nothing more to give. I rinsed the mug, dried it, placed it back on the shelf. The account wasn't frozen, just reclaimed. And for once, so was I. Amanda knocks with the back of her hand. Gentle. Performed. I open the door. She's holding lilies. Plastic wrap still clings to the stems. Behind her, Davis stares at the porch like he might fall through it. We wanted to stop by, he says. Amanda's voice trembles. Can we come in? I step back. Let them pass. The living room feels colder now. Not from the air, but from everything that's gone unspoken. They sit. Too polite. Too soft. I stay standing. Amanda offers the flowers. Your favorite, right? I look at the bouquet. No. Her smile breaks just a little. I've been thinking, she starts. About everything. About Christmas. About the house. Her voice catches. She looks at Davis like she's checking her lines. I shouldn't have said what I said, she says. I didn't mean it, Davis adds. We were overwhelmed. Amanda nods. Yes. With the refinance, the daycare costs Liam's allergies. I wasn't myself. You were exactly yourself, I reply. Her lips part, but I keep going. You said I didn't contribute, that I didn't belong at a table I paid for, that this house, my house, should become yours. It was a mistake, Davis says quickly. We panicked. Amanda was under a lot of pressure. You watched her, I say, eyes fixed on him. You watched her humiliate me and said nothing. Amanda's eyes glass over again. I'm sorry. No, I answer. You're broke. They freeze. I didn't change the trust to punish you, I continue. I changed it because I finally believed you, Amanda whispers. What do you mean? You said I contributed nothing. That includes forgiveness. Her mouth opens, closes. No sound. Davis shifts forward. Mom, we can make this right. I'm not asking you to. But I didn't invite you here. You came because the money stopped. Not because you love me. Silence. Tight. Uncomfortable. Amanda puts the flowers on the coffee table. We thought you'd be angry, Davis says. But not cold. I fold my hands. Calm. Steady. I've been warm for years. You mistook it for weakness. They don't speak again. They leave 5 minutes later. Don't take the flowers. Don't look back. I wait until I hear the car pull away before I pick up the bouquet. I carry it to the trash. Close the lid. Then I walk back to the kitchen. The coffee's still warm. I dialed the realtor's number before the sun came up. She answered on the second ring. Polite, direct, no small talk. Just like I'd asked. By noon, the paperwork was ready. By 3, the photographer had come and gone. By 5, the sign was in the front yard, white post, fresh paint, bold letters. For sale. Amanda wasn't home. Davis had taken Liam to the park. I waited until the engine returned. Waited until he stepped inside and dropped his keys into the bowl by the door. He looked tired. Like someone who'd finally started realizing the weight of things. He didn't notice the sign yet. Hey, Mom, he said, reaching for the fridge. Is there leftover pasta? In the oven, I said. Covered. He pulled it out, popped it into the microwave, and leaned against the counter, scrolling through his phone. Then he froze. He must have seen the email, the listing, the address, the price. He turned, walked to the front door, opened it, stared at the sign, then turned back to me. You're selling. I nodded once, calm, certain, but this is home. You said that. He stepped forward. We thought you assumed. His voice cracked. You told me once this place would be mine. No, I said, meeting his eyes. I told you I built this home for the people I love. That changed. He stepped back like I'd slapped him. Amanda pulled into the driveway. Loud, too fast. She hadn't seen the sign either. When she got out, her mouth hung open. She stormed in. You're kidding me. This is a joke, right? I stayed silent. Davis opened the folder I'd left on the table. The contract, the signatures, the scheduled open house. I don't understand, he said. You don't have to. Amanda's voice rose. What about Liam? His room? His school? I didn't kick you out, I said. You were never invited to stay. Davis ran a hand through his hair. Why now? Because now, I said, you finally understand how temporary comfort is when it's built on someone else's back. Amanda threw the folder across the table. You're selfish. No, I said. I've just stopped pretending I'm not the one holding the roof. She glared. Davis said nothing. I walked past them, picked up the folder, placed it back neatly. The house would sell, and I wouldn't stay for the moving truck. I packed at dawn. 1 suitcase, 1 binder, 1 coffee tin. No goodbyes, no tears. I moved like a ghost through the house, the same way I'd been treated, unseen, unneeded. The realtor texted, offer accepted, above asking. I texted back 1 word, approved. Then I called the shelter, spoke to the director, told her my plans. She cried. I didn't. The wire transfer cleared by noon. Half of everything gone but not lost. She said it would cover a new wing. Beds, showers, a classroom for GED tutoring. Real things, needed things, things no one would mock at a dinner table. I took the letter I'd written, sealed it, notarized it at the UPS store, paid in cash. The clerk asked if I wanted to ship it overnight. No rush, I said. They wouldn't open it right away anyway. Back at the house, I left the keys on the table. No note, no warning. The garage opener I dropped into the trash can. Buried under the bouquet Amanda once brought, I deleted my location from the shared family app. Turned off the ringer. Shut down the voicemail. My final act, mailing that letter. To Davis Ellis and Amanda Ellis. Subject distribution of estate. You will receive nothing further from me. This decision is final. Do not contact me again. Signed, stamped, gone. I stepped into the rideshare car. Driver asked. Heading home, I nodded, but I didn't say where, and I didn't look back. I pulled the chair close. Not to entertain, not to host, just to sit. 1 chair, 1 mug, 1 window. The ocean moved like breath, steady, wide, certain. I didn't bring the phone, didn't bring the binder. Both were tucked away. The power I'd held, the silence I'd wielded, put back where they belonged. I sipped slowly. No cream, no sugar, just coffee. Sharp. Honest. The kind that doesn't try to be anything it's not. For the first time in months, no one asked for anything. No name on a check, no RSVP, no favor disguised as affection. Just quiet. Outside, the gulls circled low. The waves kissed the shore again and again without shame, without need. Inside, I exhaled. Not with pain, with peace. There would be no reunion post, no dramatic reveal, no forced forgiveness. I didn't need their version of closure. I had mine. It sat in every name I'd removed from the will. It hummed in every message I hadn't returned. It settled in the way I now brewed coffee for one. And it lingered in the silence that finally belonged to me.